Myanmar's military has taken responsibility for a mass grave discovered last month. It's the first time army officials have acknowledged any wrongdoing in a months-long campaign against Rohingya Muslims, which has displaced hundreds of thousands of people. The military has launched an investigation and says it'll punish any soldier that broke the rules of engagement. The move is being hailed by the country's civilian leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, who called it a positive step. But critics are fearful of a cover-up. The military has already downplayed the possibility that those killed were civilians, instead claiming the grave contained rebel fighters. Well, I'm joined by the UN Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights, Kate Gilmore. Thanks so much for joining us. Kate, the fact that we have the military of Myanmar saying, yes, we take responsibility, we are responsible for the killings of 10 Rohingya Muslims in a mass grave, is that encouraging?
It's a step in the right direction, but my goodness, it's a small step. When you think that 655,000 people have been forcibly displaced, fleeing under fear from military action since August of last year, acknowledgement of one mass grave is important, but so far from sufficient as to not address concerns that there has been no accountability, not the least because there's been no comprehensive, impartial, fact-finding investigation of these heinous crimes. And as a result, we have today about 870,000 Rohingya in Bangladesh, making the world's largest ad hoc refugee camp and leaving people in situations of dire health concerns. 95% have no access to drinkable water. 2/3 of Rohingya in the camps are without sufficient nourishment, and there are no viable prospects for their return.
The fact that they make it difficult for you to get access on the ground to investigate properly, and they don't quite cooperate with international bodies, how do you get to know what you know?
The United Nations has sent a number of missions over a long period of time now, seeking to understand the details of the root causes, the manifestations of the violence and the impact on the people. But those missions, which have been different in time and gone to different groups of displaced Rohingya, are backed up from reports within the homes from which they have fled, within Rakhine state, and verified too, corroborated by reports given to multiple other authorities, including civil society actors, other governments, other international organisations. And the statements, the descriptions are concordant over these different sources, that there has been what is tantamount to a deliberate effort to annihilate a people. The targeting of the violence is very telling. Targeted teachers, religious leaders, deliberate targeting of mothers and of babies.
Right.
The killing of babies that were feeding at the breast. The annihilation of livestock, of homes, of sacred sites, so that when Rohingya people are able to return, what they will encounter is really unrecognisable terrain. Right. Terrain that holds no memory any longer of their presence there over decades. This is tantamount.
Yeah, it's interesting. You say tantamount. You've given me the description of what Raphael Lemkin described as genocide. You said tantamount to a deliberate attempt to annihilate a people. So let me then ask you from your office, is what they are doing to the Rohingya a genocide?
By every measure that we can establish, that is where the signposts point. But only a duly convened court can make that adjudication with authority. And if there is evidence to the counter, Why is it the case that the Myanmar authorities are not cooperating with the special representative of the Secretary-General, the Special Rapporteur of the Human Rights Council on the situation of the people of Myanmar? Why is the Myanmar government not cooperating with our office and with our fact-finding missions? Why are the Myanmar authorities not allowing unfettered humanitarian access and unfettered access for human rights monitors?
When they say they're fighting an ARSA insurgency and that the people who get caught up and killed are collateral damage because there's an insurgency among them, your response is what?
2 words: disproportionate response on their part. Disproportionate response. What we can establish, as much as we have been allowed to get unfettered access to the facts, is that small numbers of poorly armed, we're talking sticks and stones, poorly armed insurgents have indeed targeted a handful of the military. How can the displacement of 655,000 people, the killings of untold numbers, the destruction of the homes and livelihoods of a people be considered proportionate response?
Right.
This is unethical, it is unprincipled, it is unacceptable, and accountability should be borne by those responsible before duly convened courts.
In one sentence, what is your message to Aung San Suu Kyi?
Stop the violence, stand up for your own people's rights inclusively. You are not government of a part of the country, you provide government to all the country, inclusive of the Rohingya.
Kate Gilmore, the UN Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the Newsmakers. Thank you very much for joining us.